Hello and welcome to our phonics presentation. Normally we'd be doing this in school, but in the current situation, I'm providing a video online to let you know what phonics is, how we teach it in reception, how we teach tricky words, and some activities and ideas of things that you can use at home that will help us and help the children. Okay, so cracking the code. There's 26 letters of the alphabet, and there's 44 sounds in the English language. And there's 144 different ways that we can put these letters together to represent these sounds. So for example, an S and H would make a sh sound. For an oi sound, we could use an O and an I, but you could also use an O and a Y. So there's lots of different ways that these letters can be put together to make the same sounds and different sounds. So it can be quite complicated for children, and that's why we teach it every day that we're in. So what should be taught? Beginning readers should be taught 4 of the following things. So the letters and the sounds that they represent, how to blend sounds to make a word, how to segment words to say the sounds, and also how to recognise a range of different tricky words that do not follow the phonic code. So let's talk about blending. So with blending, if I came across the word cat, for example, I would read those sounds, k, at, and I put them all together, I blend them together, k, at, so I knew the word said cat. Now, for segmenting, we're pretty much doing the reverse. We're breaking down that word into the sounds. This will help us with our spelling. So again, the word cat, I'm breaking it down into the sounds so I know which ones I need to write. Cat, k, at. Now I know which sounds that I need to write down. And with tricky words, these words, as I've already said, do not follow the phonic code. They cannot be blended. They cannot be segmented. So we have to recognise these by sight. There's a lot of repetition with all of the elements of the things that we should be taught, but especially with the tricky words. At Minerva, we follow the letters and sounds approach to teaching phonics, and there's lots of different phases to that letters and sounds approach. So phase 1, which a lot of your children would have probably done in their nursery settings, is all about listening skills. It's being able to tune into different sounds, remember sounds, talk about what they can hear, develop their vocab and their language comprehension. And a lot of this, as I said, we're doing at the moment in term 1 to get us ready for the next phase, which will be learning our letters and sounds. Okay, so this is phase 1, and as you can see, there's 7 aspects to phase 1 phonics. This is what we will do the whole way through the year, but we have a real focus in term 1 to help children get ready to listen when we do start learning our different letters. So aspect 1 is environmental sounds. We've done this through learning walks around the local area, or even stopping for a minute and listening in your home to see what different sounds they can pick up around them. Aspect 2 is instrumental sounds, so things like having different instruments. How do they make the same sound? Finding the bells that make the same sound. How can they find something that sounds like a drum? Adding sound effects to stories and things like that. Aspect 3 is sort of body percussion, so lots of action songs and rhymes and singing and clapping and following beats. That really works in aspect 3. Aspect 4 would be rhythm and rhyme. We do a lot of clapping our names, so Mrs. Armstrong, for example. Also, rhyming stories are fantastic. If children can hear rhymes, that's really going to help them with their reading because they're starting to spot things that sound similar. Aspect 5 would be alliteration, so that's when things start with the same sound. So maybe playing games like I Spy at home. So I spy with my little eye something beginning with s. They can find some socks. Maybe they find a snake, for example. Voice sounds is maybe adding different voices to stories, or making different sounds with their mouths. So can you make the sound of you going down the slide? Whee! Can we make a sound of a snake? Sss. And maybe using mirrors and things like that to see the shape of their mouths and what shape their mouths make when they make different sounds. And the last one is oral blending and segmenting. And we've been doing a lot of this recently. And it's that robot speech. So I'll pretend to be a robot. Can you find me the k, at? and hopefully the children will be able to put that together and realise that I'm asking for them to find a cat. Can you put your hands on your hips? And they're following the actions and things like that. So we do a lot of that throughout the year. We're having a big focus this term too. Okay, so phase 2 phonics is when we first start introducing the children to letters and the sounds that they make. So we introduce the first 19 grapheme-phoneme correspondences. Now, a grapheme-phoneme correspondence is the letter and the sound that that letter makes. For example, S makes a S sound. We also teach the children how to decode and encode, how it's a reversible process, again, that blending and segmenting. And as soon as children have a small number of the grapheme phoneme correspondences and they can start to blend and they can start to segment, we also teach them the tricky words that are the, to, no, go, and I. You will be sent all of this home as soon as we start learning them, so you can practice at home as well. When we start phase 2 phonics, we'll also start to give out reading books, so you can practice the sounds at home. Okay, so here are all of the letters and the sounds that we will learn when we start phase 2 phonics. Now, I'll go through all of these for you now. It's really important that when we're reading at home that we don't add that sound onto the end of words. For example, for P, we don't say P. For M, we don't say M, and we have to make it the shortest possible sound. So I'll start with S. So it'll be S, and the sound is S. For A, the sound is A. For T, the sound is T. For P, the sound is P. For I, the sound is I. For N, the sound is N. For M, the sound is M. For D, the sound is D. For G, the sound is G. For O, the sound is O. For C, the sound is K. And for K, the sound is K. And for CK, the sound is K. For E, the sound is E. For U, the sound is A. For R, the sound is R. For H, the sound is H. For B, the sound is B. For F, the sound is F. And again for the double F, F. For L, the sound is L. And for the double L is L again. And then we also have the double S making the S sound. Now, when we have two sounds together, it is called a digraph. It's two letters making one sound. We will teach the children in phase 2 that there's the CK, the double F, the double L, and the double S will always be found at the end or in the middle of a word and never at the beginning. Now, a great way that children can learn these at home is if you go on YouTube and go on the Jolly Phonics songs, phase 2, they're fantastic. The children will start to sing them with you at home now anyway, because we've been showing them already, but they've all got actions to go with each sound, and it will help you if you wanted to have a look at that too. Okay, so sometime in term 3, we will start teaching phase 3. This will teach 25 new graphemes, which is the way a sound is written. The children will be able to represent about 42 phonemes, the sound, by a grapheme. They will continue to practice reading CVC words, consonant, vowel, consonant words like cat, for example. They'll be practicing blending and segmenting these for writing. They will be able to apply their knowledge of blending and segmenting in their reading, hopefully learn to spell some more tricky words, and learn to read some tricky words, and also will start learning the letter names too. Okay, so these are all of our phase 3 sounds. As you can see, there's a lot more of two sounds together, those digraphs, there's two letters making one sound. And there's also some 3 letters making one sound, which are called trigraphs. So I'll go through and let you know how they sound. So I'll start with the J is J, V, V, W, W, X, X, Y, Y, Z, Z, and the same with the double Z. They've got the Q and the U, make a Q sound. The C and the H, ch. The S and the H, sh. The T and the H now makes two sounds. It's got the thick version where your tongue sticks out, so the th, and the thin th, and th. Then you've got the N and the G making the sound. The A and the I making the A sound. The two E's make an E sound. The I, G, H make an I sound. And the O and the A make an O sound. They've got the two O's with the moon make the oo sound. And the two with the book make an sound. They've got the A and the R making an R sound. The O and the R making an OR sound. The U and the R making an sound. The O and the W making an ow sound. The O and the I making an oi sound. The E, A, R making an ear sound. The A, I, R is air. The U, R, E is your. And the E and the R is an sound. So again, it gets a little bit trickier in this phase because obviously we're having a lot more digraphs, a lot more trigraphs, and it's the writing of these sounds that sometimes they find tricky, getting letters around the wrong way. So there's a lot of repetition. We'll send again this mat home when we start, so you can help the children spot these in their reading books when they come home too. But we'll be doing lots of repetition at school, and we'll send home homework as well for the children to complete to really help go over these sounds again and again. Okay, so here's a little bit about word structure. So we start with sort of CVC words, as I mentioned before, and there's an example on the slides here. For example, Ben is a consonant vowel consonant word, bat, bit, cat, dog, for example, and we start off with those ones when we're first doing our phonics, and then we would move on to sort of simple captions. As you can see, the one at the bottom, a pin on a map. Now, we use our phonics fingers when we're reading and when we're segmenting. So when we're saying a word, we put each sound on our finger, and it helps us sort of blend them together and also segment words for writing. We may also put sound buttons on the bottoms of words too. So a little dot under each letter, under each sound, so the children can touch the sound button, and make that sound. It's another reason, another way that we help them learn to read simple words. Very quickly, children will learn to read the words, and the sound buttons are really effective, and so are the phonics fingers. You'll be surprised actually how quickly they begin to read words and simple sentences, because that one at the bottom, a pin on a map, they don't need very many sounds to be able to read that. It's just all about the blending coming together. So we really are working on blending already in those sort of phase 1 phonics, and we'll give you lots of things to do at home as well, so you can practice too. Okay, so reading the tricky words. They're called tricky words because at this stage the children cannot sound these words out. So they need to learn them by sight, and lots of repetition is key here. An example of a tricky word is go. If they try to blend the word go, go, it doesn't make sense. It's not a word. So they must learn them by sight. We will send tricky word mats home, so you're aware of the words that we are learning at school, and you can practice these at home with your children too. Lots of things that have helped parents in the past. They've done tricky word hunts at home. They've made their own flashcards, and they do them just before dinner. A snap game, finding ones that are the same and reading them, or a bingo game, having a bingo board, reading out the words and rubbing them away once they hear them. Other things parents have done is write tricky words on banana skins, maybe write them on the toilet roll, write them on the top of yogurt lids and things like that, so children have to have a go at reading them before they can have their food or something like that. But lots of fun things. There's loads of fun ideas online of things you can do, and we're always coming up with new ideas, so come and find us if you need some ideas on how to teach tricky words. Another thing we'll also be sending home is a high frequency word booklet. Now, high frequency words are slightly different. They can be blended. However, it increases the children's fluency when they're reading if they can, again, learn these by sight too. So some high frequency words be it, is, put, for example, words that can be blended, but again, if they learn them by sight, it's just going to increase their fluency when they're reading. And here are all the tricky words that we will be learning in phase 2 and phase 3. I also forgot to say, if you go on YouTube and type in tricky word phase 2 or tricky word phase 3 songs, there's some fantastic songs on there that really help the children with recognising the words and the spelling too. We listen to them a lot at school, but they're great. The children love them. So here's a little bit about pace and progression. So by the end of reception, we would have taught the children at least one way of representing each phoneme, so each sound. They will have worked through all of phase 2 and phase 3, and they'll be working on the next stage before they leave reception. Attendance is really key here because we teach a different sound every day. So if you miss a day, they're going to miss out on a sound. Now, I know that's tricky at the minute with everything that's going on. However, we will be putting things up on our team site to help you with the phonics if they are away. And we've also changed the ways our phonics is taught slightly this year with doing fewer sounds a week, so we can really focus on those sounds and hopefully catch up with some of the children that have been away too. Now, when we're doing phase 2, so that's what we're going to start in term 2, we're not expecting the children to be able to write the sounds or write the graphemes at this stage. Because obviously we know we're sort of physically, we're still working on pencil grip with children, and that formation can be quite tricky. So we use a lot of things like magnetic letters, flashcards, post-it notes with sounds on so they can help build up words for spelling and writing. There's more of an expectation at phase 3 that children start to be able to form these letters and be able to write them ready for year 1. Okay, here's some really useful websites. Phonics Play is fantastic. It was free during lockdown. It does still have some free games on it. However, some of them you do have to pay for. I think a subscription for a year is around £12. There's another website called Phonics Bloom, which tends to have some of the games on Phonics Play, which are paid for, are free on Phonics Bloom and vice versa, so it's worth taking a look on there too. BBC Phonics has loads of useful information, so have a look on there, and an app that's been recommended recently called Teach Your Monster to Read. Now, I know the computer version is free to use, but I think the app is around £5 on the App Store, but there was a deal recently where it was free to download, so check that one out. It's got loads of lovely games that the children don't even know they're learning. It's fantastic. And lastly, I just want to talk to you about reading. So we've recently got some new books. Please, please, please look after our new books. It's taken a long time for us to get hold of them, and they're quite expensive. And it's just lovely having them, and they're fantastic. They've been recommended to us by the Phonics Hub, and they are great. The children loved them last year. If you look in the front cover, there's a little bit of advice, like some questions you can ask the children. Sometimes there's a little story map exercise at the end, or little games you can play at the end too. So really, really please do take care of them. We only swap the books once a week. Now, we do this because we want to develop fluency with reading, so we want the children to sort of really get to know that book, ask them questions about what's in the pictures. Can they find a sound? Can they find a tricky word? We will send home a little how to read sheet with the children once we start giving out reading books that will really help you with questions and things you can ask. Please bring the book in every day. The children are read to by a teacher or somebody in the class every week, once a week, sometimes, if we have time, more than once a week. So bring a reading book in every day, and we'll get the children to bring them home every day so you can read at home too. We really want to develop comprehension, pace and fluency with reading. So the more we read, the more we'll be able to develop these skills. I hope I've answered all of your questions about phonics. If you have any more, please come and see me or Miss Hazelwood. We'll be happy to answer any questions, and when we do start, we'll send home lots of bits and bobs to help you again as well. But thank you for listening. I'll see you all soon. Bye.